So here we are with game number 1, just the one. It's a ladder game and it's going down on Polar Nights, a little bit of TvZ, which is always good fun. And of course, for those of you who don't know, well, DeMusliM is back in the EU, moved from America back over here, not quite to England where he's from originally, but still a little bit closer to home. Now, spawning down in the south position as the blue Zerg player, representing ECV, it's Summer. And in the north, the red Terran player, representing evil geniuses, DeMusliM. So this should be an absolutely awesome game. TvZ, generally speaking, is one of my preferred matchups. I like it a lot. Got a nice dynamic to it. Lots of viable builds, especially from the Terran side. The openings from a Terran player can be very varied. But also for a Zerg, there's a good number of builds that can be very effective, but more importantly, they're all very skill based, especially what is the most common build, which is Muta, Zergling, Baneling. Requires a lot of skill to utilize effectively, getting those nice Baneling connections, and there's a lot of micro potential for a Terran player as well, to counter that through good marine splitting, nice Widow Mine or tank placement, and all that sort of thing. So it really does highlight a player's skill, and just their ability to execute a build efficiently. So, for the moment, DeMusliM, he's going to be opening up with a Reaper play. We know that much because he's got a barracks coming down, and he's also got the refinery there. Not quite sure why I can't apparently hear anything mining. I'll have to investigate that as another point, but clearly something a bit odd going on there. Not quite sure what's causing it. But still, this is looking relatively normal over on the Zerg side too. Summer there is getting down a hatchery first build. Pretty much the most common opening you're going to see as a Zerg player. Going straight into the spawning pool. The other option would be to get a gas down first and then into the pool, delaying your queens and Zergling slightly, but meaning that you get Zergling speed out sooner. Zergling speed, very efficient, dealing with these Reapers as they come across, especially if DeMusliM is going to follow up with an additional Reaper off the back of this first one, which commonly we'll see transition into that 2 Reaper, 4 Hellion play that's really quite difficult for a Zerg player to deal with, especially if the Terran player is able to efficiently use those Reapers to tank up the initial damage, and due to the way they heal up, it can be very quick and very effective to deal some good drone damage, and also even start taking out queens and such. So, for the moment, we do just have spawning pool finished up, the first 2 Zerglings in production, and also gas coming in nicely. DeMusliM slightly up on gas, isn't adding in the second Reaper. Only got the one down at the moment. That's coming across the map, gonna try and poke and prod and generally be a little bit annoying. But without a second one coming down, these 6 lings that have hit the field really don't serve too much of a benefit. So that's a couple of drones that don't need to be, or haven't been made, that could have been made, already meaning DeMusliM's getting himself into quite a nice spot. However, he is going to continue on and probably get out those Hellions as we see the reactor coming down on the barracks and now the factory started. Reaper doing quite a good job for the moment, just got the 1 kill, going to keep trying to poke and prod around, not doing very much, nearly getting caught by a couple of lings. Great little trick being used here by Summer, positioning the Zerglings up on the high ground where the Reaper doesn't have vision, ready to surround it the second it jumps up. So good little tricks there, nearly catching DeMusliM off guard, but DeMusliM able to move back. And I am really sorry about this sound issue. I have no idea what's causing it. I'm actually going to pause the game and try and work out what is going on here, because something a bit weird's happening. Sound effects. That's why we don't have anything happening. Now we go. Okay, this is a bit better now. I've fixed the problem. Everything's good. So, Reaper, continuing on. Just going to be poking and prodding. The first 2 Hellions should be coming out relatively soon once that reactor is switched over to the factory. Queen getting a nice little bit of damage done on to that Reaper now. With combat drugs though, heals up nice and quick. DeMusliM is also playing this really greedy. He's got the 3rd CC already in production, and that means that he's going to have a 3rd mule, but also he's getting himself relatively safe by putting it here as part of the wall off of the natural. It just means that he's got a much tighter choke that he can defend. However, Summer is fully aware this is coming down. The Overlord up on the high ground, doing a perfect job of scouting this down, and it's somewhat the downside of putting the command center as part of the wall off, is that you then can get scouted so easily. A couple of lings at the front would also be able to see it, whereas if you built it in the main, an Overlord would have to be sacrificed to get that information. The Reaper going to be saved by some Marines there. The Zerglings backing away. Overall, DeMusliM hasn't lost anything so far this game, whereas 2 Zerglings have been killed on Summer's side. So, very minimal losses. That's 1 lava's worth of losses, but nothing too much to worry about. Now, this is a small touch I really do like from DeMusliM. He's adding in a single Viking into his composition. This is an Overlord Hunter. Going to be picking off an Overlord pretty much for free at this stage. And what that means is that the scouting information for Summer, that's been hindered. He gets supply blocked. Doesn't have another Overlord in production yet. Incredibly frustrating. So that's about 30-second in-game supply block coming down for Summer there. Not something that you want to have to deal with as a Zerg player. Also, that Viking is going to go and kill off a couple more Overlords, further hindering the information available to Summer. He doesn't know how many units are coming out here now. Doesn't know when this command center moves. A lot of stuff just sitting there. But for the moment, the Ling's getting a very nice round there. DeMusliM going to lose quite a few of those Hellions. The Reaper getting pretty low, but with reinforcements coming through, DeMusliM has no choice but to fall back. He's only got 6 Zerglings, but if these Hellions go one-on-one against them, they are going to get taken down. Creep spread also moving forward nicely. Summer up to 5 queens on these 3 bases, so it has still got those 2 queens dedicated to spreading creep. Got a good amount of defense up against these Hellions, and again, DeMusliM is going to get one of those Hellions surrounded, and as a result, it goes down. This push not looking too threatening, and that's why Summer is being very bold, very aggressive up against it, pushing it all the way back, trying to secure a couple more kills on those Hellions. The Zerglings attempting to surround, get the nice little pick off. The Reaper going to fall. The remaining 2 Hellions should be able to get home to tell the story, but it isn't a good one. The grandkids not going to be keen on healing what is coming down here, but yeah, this is looking quite good at the moment for Summer. That early aggression from a Terran player is critical to try and keep the drone count low, whereas Summer has actually got a pretty decent drone count and is droning heavily at this stage. Admittedly, a lot of Lings have been forced out onto the field already, but while they are down, they've been able to do a lot. They've held off the aggression, picked off a lot of units, and DeMusliM, while he's not lost as much as Summer yet, is still losing units that he really can't afford to at this stage of the game. Now this is quite interesting. 32 more Lings are coming down from Summer. That's a big investment in Zerglings, especially when we can see that the 3rd base is not fully saturated yet. Only at 14 rather than the 16 that you'd want at those mineral fields. Upgrade wise, both players looking pretty similar. 1-1 slightly ahead for Summer, whereas for DeMusliM, he's got his own 1-1 on its way through. He's just finished up Stim and he's got Combat Shield now researching too. The Baneling Nest is coming down as well, so Bling looking like a very probable course of action right now for Summer. We'll probably transition into Mutalisks as well. As long as he survives this push, there's a good number of Marines here, and without Banelings, they're going to be able to dish out quite a large amount of damage. But a quick pickup, with so many Lings, not going to be able to do much else. A counterattack is also coming through here by Summer, but due to a bunker being positioned at that 3rd base, it's highly unlikely that it's going to do anything. Just a little bit of mineral is wasted while it's repaired up. A few more Marines making their way across the map. A lot up in that medevac. DeMusliM dropping them down though. Of course, they're safe up in those medevacs, not going to get picked off by any of those Lings, so just safely backing away. Summer wisely also bringing along an Overseer, just granting detection in case there was any Widow Mines burrowed. Now, as I said at the start of the game, this Viking is such a beautiful move by DeMusliM. It's already got 4 kills, racked up a 5th one now. Gonna get a 6th, almost certainly, comes over there. While this isn't supply blocking Summer again, it's done 600 minerals worth of damage. That's 6 Overlords that have been taken down, 6 lava. It's a massive feat, all by 1 lone Viking. Not a big investment, but it's paid off massively. I also want to show you the vision currently open to Summer. Minus these Zerglings, he's only got 2 Overlords on the map and creep spread down to here. This move out, had that watchtower not been taken, would have been completely undetected, and in itself would have caused Summer quite a few problems. So DeMusliM is getting up quite a sizable force. Their upgrades are tied at 1-1 apiece. 2-2 coming down for both players, but unfortunately a handful of Zerglings counterattacking into DeMuslim's main and natural base. Quite a few SCVs are getting picked off here, 8 in total, and while all of these Zerglings will die in the process, it leaves the 3rd vulnerable, and that's where Summer is now going forward, trying to break it. Lots of Banelings coming through, gets some massive detonations down. So many SCVs dying there, and the bunker falling. A couple more Banelings getting some good hits there. The Marines falling incredibly quickly. And with this, Summer is taking quite a good position in this game. The supplies are fast, well, nearly identical, just one difference between them, but the worker count is what's looking really solid now for the Zerg player. 71 up against 66. Still could do with dealing a bit more damage, trying to stop this freight train of production that DeMusliM is currently riding on from being as efficient. But if these Baneling hits continue to be as precise, if the damage and the trades still keep going in Summer's favour, he can deal with that, especially since the army supply is also very equal at the moment. So, Summer currently on 4 bases to the 3 of DeMusliM, but DeMusliM does have the 4th orbital command already complete. Gonna go and float that down to the back once these Marines have done taken out the ice blocking the base. But for the moment, Summer being very aggressive. The Mutalisk count is non-existent. Oh no, sorry, take it back. 12 Mutalisks are on the field, as I was on the wrong tab. Just gonna be trying to pressure here, but the Marines with Stim are gonna be very effective up against those Mutas. +2, and Stim is very powerful. But the 3rd base from DeMusliM is now taking even more damage. In come those Banelings, getting a couple of nice detonations. 19 workers killed, so only an additional 1 taken out there. But it's opening up the main base to these Mutas, and Summer is really just trying to spread DeMusliM as thin as possible, trying to force him to be in 2 places at once. DeMuslim's getting out of Thor though. Splash damage against air, gonna make these Mutas a lot less effective than Summer really would want them to be, while pushing forward as well. This is a real back and forth game at the moment. Both players trading some pretty hefty blows, but it's the natural base yet again exposed that could be a problem for DeMusliM. Luckily, a good number of Marines coming through here. I can hear a lot of Mutalisks dying, and that really isn't something that Summer wants. 100 gas and minerals per Mutalisk, and great interception there by DeMusliM is able to cut off the retreat of those Mutas and take them out, leaving only now 4 on the field. That is a significant blow. In total, 14 Mutalisks have been killed, and that's 1,400 gas and minerals that Summer is never getting back. The Marine count is also getting pretty sizable, as is the medevac count up at 10. So, with 3-3 coming down, DeMusliM is taking an upgrade lead. He's got a pretty substantial army supply lead, 30 up, but he's also getting very aggressive, forcing back the creep spread, and by doing so, it makes it a lot harder for Summer to engage. But again, DeMusliM allows some more Zerglings into his main and natural base, and there isn't actually very much here to defend. Just 1 Thor, but up against the Lings, a Thor doesn't fare too well. A couple of Marines coming out. Is the Thor going to be able to survive? It should be able to now, but already more workers are being killed. The natural base is being attacked, and DeMusliM just being slightly indecisive in the center of the map. Not sure if he wants to push or if he needs to pull back in order to defend. 29 workers have now been killed, and that gives an 11 worker lead to Summer at the moment. And if DeMusliM doesn't deal some nice damage shortly, Summer's supply is going to start capping. But in come the Banelings. They get some good detonations down. DeMusliM splitting effectively. The Thor tanking up quite a lot of those Baneling hits, and DeMusliM comes off better in that trade, only losing about 15 army supply compared to Summer, who lost all of his Banelings there. Very difficult now for Summer, trying to engage with these Mutalisks, but with the Thor and the Marines about to be 3-3 Marines as well, this is looking very promising for the Evil Geniuses player. In he goes, the Thor getting some more good hits off. The Banelings get a few good detonations, but some great pickups by these medevacs save a vast majority of those Marines. The Mutalisks now all dying off, and the supplies really tell the story now. 98 to 30 army supply. DeMusliM rallying all of his units across the map, and GG, well played, gets called. And Summer unfortunately loses, but congratulations to DeMusliM, who did an awesome job there. If you're watching live, make sure that you follow this channel. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, and leave a cool comment. And I'll see you tomorrow for yet another new cast.